Good morning, you're with News 9 Live. All the stories making headlines from around the world that'll move the markets, move businesses and economies coming your way in the next 30 minutes. I'm Karthik Malhotra. You're watching World Business Report. Our top story coming in this morning: the United States and Britain have launched airstrikes as well as strikes from the sea against Houthi military targets in Yemen in response to the movement's attacks on ships in the Red Sea, a dramatic regional widening of the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza. President Joe Biden cautioned in a statement late on Thursday he would not hesitate to take further action if needed. Here's what he said. Today, at my direction, U.S. military forces, together with the United Kingdom and with support from Australia, Bahrain, Canada and the Netherlands, successfully conducted airstrikes against a number of targets in Yemen used by Houthi rebels to endanger freedom of navigation in one of the world's most vital waterways. Today's defensive actions follow this extensive diplomatic campaign and Houthi rebels escalating attacks against commercial vehicles. These targeted strikes are a clear message that the United States and our partners will not tolerate attacks on our personnel or allow hostile actors to imperil freedom of navigation in one of the world's most critical commercial routes. I will not hesitate to direct further measures to protect our people and the free flow of international commerce as necessary, unquote. That is what President Joe Biden said in a statement. And visuals, as you can see on your screen, late last night, India time, strikes, F-22s, F-18s as well as Tomahawk missiles taking off from aircraft carrier in a bid to attack the Houthi rebels out in the Red Sea. Moving to business news and market news from around the world, Microsoft overtook Apple as the world's most valuable company for the first time since 2021 after the iPhone maker's shares made a weak start to the year on growing concerns over demand. Microsoft's shares have risen sharply since last year thanks to the early lead in the company that has, in the AI company, in fact, that has taken generative artificial intelligence through an investment in the maker of ChatGPT, OpenAI. At the time when Apple is facing setbacks on multiple fronts, Microsoft recently announced the introduction of AI on its devices. The tech giant last week shared its plans to introduce a co-pilot key on keyboards of devices with Windows PCs. What will this feature do? Well, this feature will provide fast access to software makers' AI assistant. The short-lived victory of Microsoft was also witnessed in 2018 and 2021. However, Apple is the first company to exceed $3 trillion in market capitalization. And staying with Wall Street, in a nuanced response to the latest inflation data, Wall Street experiences little change as market sentiment remains stable. The Dow, S&P 500 and Nasdaq ended flat. Here's that story.
U.S. stocks closed little changed on Thursday as hotter than expected inflation data dampened hopes for early interest rate cuts this year by the Federal Reserve. The Dow, S&P 500, and Nasdaq were all basically flat after what had been a choppy session during which the S&P briefly surpassed its record closing high hit in January 2022. The U.S. Labor Department reported that consumer prices rose more than expected in December, with Americans paying more for health care and housing. That pressured stocks, but perhaps shouldn't have, says Melissa Brown, Managing Director of Applied Research at SimCorp.
The numbers seem to come mainly from, or I think it was 2/3 of it came from increased housing costs. And I think that is actually one reason to not be particularly worried or concerned that inflation is turning around and going back up. I think there's some lag in the way that housing costs are accounted for in the inflation numbers. And we've actually seen, if you look at other measures of housing costs, they're actually coming down.
In company news, Microsoft briefly overtook Apple as the world's most valuable company. The iPhone maker's shares have dropped nearly 4% since the year began due to concerns over falling demand. Microsoft's shares rose 0.5% Thursday, while Apple shed 0.33%. Crypto stocks reversed early gains, with Coinbase shedding more than 6.5%, Bitfarms plunging more than 13%, and Riot Platforms losing nearly 16%. The SEC a day earlier approved the first spot ETFs to track Bitcoin. And Citigroup fell more than 1.5% after a filing showed the lender booked about $3.8 billion in combined charges and reserves that will erode its fourth quarter earnings, due to be reported on Friday. Other banks fell, including J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo, which also report Friday.
All right, and staying with markets, let's move to Japan. Japan's stock market reaches unprecedented heights, not witnessed, in fact, since the 1990s. On Jan 11th, the benchmark Nikkei 225 index rose around 2% to pass the 35,000 level. That's its highest since February 1990. More details in this report.
Japanese stocks are soaring to highs not seen for decades. On Thursday, the benchmark Nikkei index rose around 2% to pass the 35,000 level. That's its highest since February 1990. Perhaps surprisingly, Japan's tough start to the year is one factor. The country suffered a major earthquake on New Year's Day. Over 200 people have so far been confirmed dead. That all left investors in subdued mood, but also made them rethink when the Bank of Japan will finally start raising rates. Many think any move will now be delayed. BOJ Governor Kazuo Ueda will also be watching the data. He has said he won't move on rates until he sees signs that wages are consistently tightening. Yet figures out this week actually showed real wages shrinking for a 20th straight month in November. Those numbers sent the Japanese yen lower against the dollar overnight, which also helped stocks, as the weaker currency boosts the value of overseas earnings for exporters. Hitachi, Suzuki Motor and trading house Itochu were among the day's big gainers as a result, all up around 4% in afternoon trade.
All right, well, Argentina and the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, have successfully navigated negotiations, striking a crucial deal to rescue Argentina's debt program and stabilize its financial outlook. Here's that story.
Argentina and the International Monetary Fund have struck a deal to rescue the country's embattled debt program. The agreement should unlock around $4.7 billion in funding. Economy Minister Luis Caputo spoke after the deal was reached.
I want to make clear this is not a new agreement. We have relaunched the previous one, which was on hold due to the goals not being fulfilled.
Agreement was urgently needed. Argentina is battling inflation heading towards 200% and is short of foreign currency reserves. Meanwhile, the IMF loans had been on hold after the previous government missed economic targets linked to the program. The new administration of Libertarian President Javier Milei had been locked in talks with the fund since late last week. Caputo welcomed the agreement, but also said Argentina shouldn't rely on it.
Es hora que el país resuelva sus problemas.
It's time the country solves its financial problems by solving, as I said at the beginning of this address, its structural problems, which are its addition to the excess of public expenditure and fiscal deficit, as this is what ends up generating all the problems suffered by society.
Que es en definitiva lo que termina generando todos los problemas que la sociedad después sufre.
For now, the IMF deal looks like a timely win for Milei, who faces daunting economic challenges. He came to power promising to cut spending, slash bureaucracy and free up business. But his program of deregulation is proving divisive on the streets and in Congress, where he lacks the majority needed to drive through reforms.
All right, moving on. Well, almost exactly a week, in fact, after a door plug ripped off the Boeing 737 MAX 9 aircraft midair that took off from Portland at 16,000 feet, Ryanair's CEO reports that passengers are displaying a notable lack of concern regarding Boeing, highlighting a resilient confidence in the airline despite industry challenges.
Ryanair passengers haven't shown any worries about flying Boeing 737 aircraft. That was the message from the carrier's CEO Michael O'Leary on Thursday. He made his comments after some 737 MAX jets were grounded after a recent cabin panel blowout on an Alaska Airlines flight.
We're not concerned. I think the number of quality control issues needs to be put in the context of the over 1 million flights that the MAX aircraft have taken over the last 2 years. But there is no doubt that there is Boeing needs to improve, and Spirit and Wichita, who make the hulls, need to improve quality control and production quality.
US regulators grounded 171 MAX 9 planes on Saturday after a panel called a door plug blew off an Alaska Airlines flight. Ryanair is Europe's largest airline by passenger numbers and one of Boeing's largest customers. It operates different variants of the 737 MAX from the type that has been grounded.
So it seems to be confined to this plug on the MAX 9. So we don't operate MAX 9s. We see no indication from any of our customers about any concern about the 737.
O'Leary further said the MAX 9 issue was concerning, but he had confirmed with US, European and Irish regulators there was no read across to the MAX 8 model Ryanair flies or MAX 10 it has on order. Though he did say Boeing had more work to do on quality control, O'Leary said he remained 100% committed to Boeing for future orders.
Well, Ryanair CEO there speaking exactly a day, in fact, after Dave Calhoun, the CEO of Boeing, had made his statement saying that safety of passengers will be the #1 priority at Boeing. Staying with the aviation sector, Siberian Airlines, contrary to popular perception and modernization, is in fact actively pursuing strategies to continue operating their fleet of 50-year-old jets, showcasing what they call a commitment to sustainability and resource optimization. Take a look.
2 Siberian airlines are seeking to extend the lifespan of their aging Soviet-era jets. The companies have requested the Russian government permit the small, propeller-driven Antonov AN-24 and AN-26 planes keep going. Many of these planes are over 50 years old. Their typical lifespan is about 60 years. Russian plane manufacturers have been scrambling to plug the gap left by the exodus of foreign companies from the country. Western sanctions over the war in Ukraine further means the cost of maintaining the planes is set to increase due to the impact on investment and access to parts and supplies. According to Reuters analysis, Russia has handed out more than $12 billion in state subsidies and loans to keep its aviation sector afloat since sanctions were introduced. But according to Oleg Panteliv, head of the Aviaport aviation think tank, it's not enough to keep the Antonovs safely airborne.
The continued usage of AN-24 and AN-26 planes will inevitably raise the cost of flight hours. Maintaining an aging fleet of operational aircraft all around the world rests on economic feasibility.
The Antonovs were designed in the 1950s and produced in Kiev from the 1960s, but none have been made for almost a decade. In Yakutia, Russia's largest region, which is almost the size of India and the heart of its diamond industry, the planes are crucial. Almost 100 remain in service and are well suited to the harsh conditions. The Antonovs don't have to land on runways and can manage on the ground or snow. Here's Polar Airlines pilot Konstantin Nazmudinov.
It is a very reliable aircraft. All systems work properly. There are no complaints at all. It fits well for conditions of the far north, as it can withstand temperatures up to -58 degrees Fahrenheit. There have even been cases that we flew up to -76 degrees Fahrenheit.
According to this Yakutia resident and frequent flyer, the planes are nothing to be scared of. He recalls his father describing AN-24s as flying tractors that just keep on flying.
All right, time to take a little programming note here on News 9 Live. Mark your dates in your calendars. 22nd Jan, the big Pran Pratishtha, inauguration of the Ram Temple in Ayodhya. And if you're not traveling to Ayodhya, all you need to do is stay glued to your TVs and watch News 9 Live. Here's that programming note.
Ram's Ayodhya rebuilt. Ram Lala's Pran Pratishtha. Countdown to January 22nd. Dateline Ayodhya. Catch the mega coverage only on News 9 Live.
Back to global news. Well, fast retailing, the owner of Uniqlo witnessed a substantial surge in Q1 profits, reflecting the company's success and positive market reception. Here's that story.
Japan's fast retailing could be on track for another year of record earnings. The Uniqlo operator said Thursday first quarter operating profit rose 25% due to strong overseas sales. Profit hit just over $1 billion in the 3 months through November, well up on a year before and ahead of analyst forecasts. Uniqlo's business did well in mainland China, where it saw a big rise in revenue and profit over Q1. Stores there came back to life after more than 2 years of health crisis-related lockdowns. Fast retailing also saw operating income almost double in the US last year. The company has scored record earnings in the past 3 years as it pressed an aggressive growth strategy overseas, and it projects another record profit in 2024, holding its full-year operating forecast at about $3 billion. But climate change could prove an issue for a company known for its quick rollout of seasonal items. Last year was the hottest on record, with unusually warm conditions from September to December, threatening sales of winter wear. Shares of fast retailing soared close to a third in 2023 and rose over 2% on Thursday.
All right, staying with retail but moving course to the United Kingdom, Tesco raises its profit outlook while Marks & Spencer enjoys a robust Christmas season, indicating a positive trend in the retail space. Here's that story.
Tesco upgraded its profit outlook once again on Thursday. Britain's biggest retailer now expects its key profit figure to hit $3.5 billion in the year to end February 2024. It's up from last year's $3.17 billion and slightly ahead of previous forecasts. Tesco's optimism follows a better than expected Christmas where it sold more than 1 million fresh whole turkeys, turkey crowns and joints, 57 million mince pies and 6.6 million bottles of Prosecco. Tesco said it was also helped by strong demand for its premium ranges and the popularity of its loyalty scheme. CEO Ken Murphy told reporters he was cautiously optimistic about the health of the UK consumer. He noted mortgage rates were starting to fall, fuel prices deflating and wage rates growing. For Tesco, its UK like-for-like sales rose 6.8% over the 6 weeks to January 6th, ahead of analyst forecasts. The retailer is benefiting from a strategy of matching the prices of discounter Aldi on key items. It wasn't just Tesco enjoying a strong Christmas. Clothing and food giant Marks & Spencer also reported a better than expected 8.1% rise in sales over the period. It was driven by market-leading growth in food and a strong performance in women's wear. But M&S shares were down over 5% in morning trade, while Tesco was also slightly down.
All right, well, delving into the realm of royal preparation, an etiquette coach shares insights into the meticulous training provided for the future Danish queen. Here's that story.
And when you put your shoulders back, you see that my hands go naturally to the side. So that effort is done in holding the shoulders back.
Very interesting.
Mary was very engaged, very enthusiastic about the knowledge, very attentive, and very intelligent, and she would say things that indicated to me that she really understood what I was teaching, and she loved the personal development aspect of having the knowledge to transform yourself.
Alaqua Cox, the prominent figure from ECHO, strives to inspire others with disabilities, promoting inclusivity and empowerment on a broader scale. Here's that story.
Yes, absolutely.
You have so much pain in you.
My hope for the fans is that they can see that people with disabilities can do anything they want. They can go for the moon. You know, Maya herself is a perfect example. She can fight. She can do anything. She can beat the villains up. I guess we'll see exactly what happens in the show, but the audience, sometimes, you know, I want everybody to know that people with disabilities are just like everybody else.
The character is such a powerful woman, you know, it's amazing. You know, it's all there, you know, her whole story is there. And she's such a unique actress in so many ways, you know, so it's fantastic. I can't imagine them not being just taken on this journey they're going to love. I mean, I've seen a few of the episodes and they're just so good.
I think the best thing about the show is that all of those groups are speaking for themselves. And the writers behind the scenes, and the directors behind the camera, and the actors on screen are all members of that community. So the amount of collaboration was really amazing with members of the deaf community, the hard of hearing community, the Choctaw community. And it really is a story about the Choctaw people and about this hero, Maya Lopez, told by so many members of the actual community.
Just a little eye contact to the...
All right, staying with the world of entertainment, Game of Thrones. Yeah, well, winter is coming, it seems, once again. The producers of Game of Thrones make a triumphant return with a new series, captivating audiences and continuing their legacy in the world of television. Let's see what's coming up.
I only hope that we did them justice and the people would feel the awe that we felt in reading the books initially.
There must be 30 dead scientists in the past month. Christ, another countdown.
It was unlike anything we'd ever read. It starts in the late 60s and it goes to the end of time and the end of the universe, literally. And that was both attractive and terrifying because I'd never seen anything like that. I'd never read it, and we couldn't imagine any other show that had ever done it. So.
Whoa, that's cool. Please go ahead and have a seat, guys. Just raise your hand, and we'll be over to assist you. All right? All right, everybody.
It was like a magic trick that they pulled off, even though I knew how the trick was done, which is pretty impressive. I thought it was fun.
All right, well, suspense building up on what's coming next from the producers of Game of Thrones. Well, staying with entertainment, Angela Bassett and Mel Brooks are honored with prestigious Oscars, recognizing their exceptional contribution to the world of entertainment. Here's that package.
And Angela over the left shoulder. Angela left.
I have faith that one day, someday, the celebration and recognition will be solely on the performance and the performer.
I feel so bad about the Oscar I got for writing the original screenplay for the producers. I feel so bad. I miss it. I miss it so much. I never should have sold it.
All right. Right, well, offering a glimpse into the highly anticipated Annie Winehouse biopic, Back to Black. It provides a first look at the film's portrayal of the iconic rock star's life. Here's that story.
I write songs because I don't know what I do. I want people to hear my voice and just forget their trouble. Is how I'm feeling. I don't know. You got to remember, I ain't no Spice Girl.
Amy Winehouse.
And in good news for Elvis Presley's fans, Elvis fans embark on the Elvis Express for a tribute festival celebrating the enduring legacy of the king of rock and roll with enthusiasm as well as nostalgia.
Stuck on it, fingers from your long black hair, squeeze the bridle of the grizzly bear.
What happens on the Elvis Express stays on the Elvis Express, you know. Look, it's really just a lot of fun. We go from carriage to carriage, entertaining the people. They dress up the carriages. They're all there to have a good time. And I guess that's what makes it special, is the people on the train make it special.
Everyone's got so serious. The world, everyone's painting their house grey, the world's gone grey. We need a bit of colour and a bit of fun. And just, you know, get out there and have a laugh, I say.
Well, that's all on this edition of World Business Report. News and updates continue right here on News 9 Live. Neha Bhan will see you on the other side. Thanks for watching.